Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the KingKong Fly Egg 100, and this is pretty similar to the 130 that I reviewed a couple weeks ago. Essentially it has the same two aluminum side plates, same electronics inside. It's just got a smaller frame, so it's going to be 100 millimeters motor to motor. It's an H-style frame. And it's got obviously some different motors here. These are 1103 7800 kV motors. Same size and kV as on the KingKong 95 GT, but those had those motors were red and had ventilation. These are you can see they're the closed top type, so they don't have as much ventilation. So there is a little bit more heat buildup in these, just like in the KingKong 130. So it comes with the same style props that the 90 GT and the 95 GT came with. These are the three-bladed 1935 props. I believe there's enough space here for a 2-inch prop like the Gem Fan 2035s. I basically flew this totally stock on the line of sight flight, and then I tweaked the PIDs a little bit for the FPV, just based on what I saw from the line of sight flight. I thought the D gains and the P gains needed to come up a little bit. I believe this came with Betaflight 3.1.6, if I'm not mistaken, whereas the 130 came with 3.1.5, which I thought was kind of weird. Not much difference between 3.1.5 and 3.1.6, pretty similar, and I didn't change anything on basically the flight demo. I flew it stock. As you all know from the 130 review, this receiver here, which is the FlySky receiver, is wired for PPM. You see the white wire is on that third pin next to the power. That's the PPM pin. And on the 130 I switched it over to the iBus pin, which is the empty pin here, the one on the very end. I'll probably do that at some point in the future, but I just wanted to, for this video, I wanted to show how this flies out of the box without any mods or any other weird, changes here, so that basically if someone's going to buy it without a whole lot of knowledge in terms of setup, they can go and just go and fly it. So what I did, if I can remember exactly here, I bound the receiver to my radio, which is the Trinity Evolution. There's a little bind button right there. You press that down while you plug in the battery, and then it goes into bind mode, and then obviously your radio has to be in bind mode, so then that's bound. And then I connected the flight controller to my computer. I didn't flash it. I didn't really change any settings. The only thing I added was a mode for arming on a switch on one of my auxiliary channels, auxiliary 1. And I left the PIDs alone for the initial line of sight flight, so I just flew it stock out of the box with whatever it came with. And actually they were kind of low, just to let you know up front. So if you do want to change the PIDs, I would up them a little bit. And actually later in the video I'll show you what I actually put in there during the, or actually before I did the FPV flight. So if you want to know what the PIDs are, I'll put a little screen capture of the PIDs a little bit later in the video. And then the only other thing I did was I changed my channel on the video transmitter. There's a little button right there, and there's some lights, and all it is, it's only 16 channels. All it is, I just pressed the button once, and I looked at my little FPV monitor to see if it tuned into the video, and eventually, after I think it was maybe 4 or 5 button presses, the screen came on with the video that I was transmitting, and so I knew it was on the right channel. So pretty easy to do. There's lights, and it's kind of complicated to follow. There's basically it's 2 blinking lights of 2 different colors, and there is a chart that comes with the manual. So if you want to do that, obviously you can follow that chart, but it's just easier just to press the button and then wait for the video to show up on your screen. Assuming your screen's tuned in the channel that you want to fly on, and then you're good to go. And that was it. That's all I changed. And then I went and flew line of sight, and then I changed the PIDs and I flew FPV. Literally, this is one of the easier ones to set up. So if you're looking for something really easy to set up, this is probably one to check out, because it's pretty easy to set up. Now, like with all the other KingKong models, it comes with this nice little tub, and pretty much all the same stuff that came with like the 95 GT. You get some motor guards here, and so you can see the motors are a little bit exposed, and if you want to protect the motors, you can put those on. And they come with different screws. You want to make sure that you use the longer screws with the motor guards, and then put the shorter screws back on if you take the motor guards off, otherwise you'll destroy your motors. Get these prop guards, the same one that came with the 95 GT, which I didn't use, and I'm not going to use these as well. And they also come with longer screws for those. All pretty much the same stuff. USB cable for connecting to your computer, and you get a prop removal tool and some extra rubber bands, and then this is your VTX chart here with the different colors and frequencies. And then you get your manual, and it comes in English and Chinese. All the manuals for the KingKongs are very good. If you need additional help in setup, definitely consult the manual. And then lastly, you get the 350 milliamp hour 2S LiPo with the JST connector. This is the one that came with pretty much all the other KingKongs. It's an okay battery, 35C, not the greatest. It'll get you up in the air. And I obviously flew this battery on the demo flight, and it flies totally fine there. Obviously, if you're wanting more power, I would go to a bigger battery, and I'll put a link in the description to recommended LiPo that actually has more higher C rating, and also give you more power, maybe some more flight time. So look for those links in the description. Okay, so just going to give you guys a couple of specs here. I'm sure everyone's going to wonder what the thickness of the main plate is, and that's 2.5 millimeters. And honestly, even unless you really dive in this into concrete at full speed, this frame's not going to break it. The arms are so short and it's so thick. They could have probably gotten away with. Okay, and then lastly, let's get a weight measurement, because I'm sure all you guys are wondering how much this thing weighs. And we are coming in at about 69 grams, so definitely a little bit on the beefier side, and it's due to the thicker frame and the aluminum side plates here. So yeah, obviously this can probably do 3S if you switch this connector out for a for an XT30. And if you look at my KingKong 95 GT mods, you can see how I switched out the connector for an XT30, and then I was able to put the jump fan 2035s on that, and then also then able to run 3S, and that thing is a complete rocket ship on 3S. Although the 95 GT is a bit lighter than this guy. This is a much beefier frame. Honestly, even on 2S, I thought it flew okay. It's definitely not a rocket ship, but it's a nice little park cruiser. You can definitely do flips and rolls with it. It flies well. And if you're looking for a basher, this is probably a good one, because you'll take a lot of crashes. It's very, very durable, so that's something to keep in mind. Anyway guys, I'll go ahead and show you a little bit of the line of sight flight, and then I'll put my PIDs up on the screen, and then I'll show you the FPV flight. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Okay, so you can take the Flying 100 for a little line of sight. It's pretty much all stock. All I did was I binded it to my Turn Evolution transmitter. It's got the stock battery. No PID changes. Pretty much just out of the box bind. And I think I did set a switch for arming, and that was about it. So let's see how this flies out of the box. Just do a line of sight first, and then we'll do some FPV. Pretty stable.
Flies pretty nice out of the box. Do a punch out here. Just on 2S on the little 1935 props, not too bad. Let's try another punch out. Not as impressive as 3S, of course, on the KingKong 95 GT. It's still not too bad. Let's try some flips. It's getting a little windy now. A little bit of wobble there. Probably need to increase the D gains a little bit. Definitely not as much recovery power. Definitely still able to do acro. Okay, I think it's good enough. Let's do a little FPV now.
So I'm flying this with the PIDs that you saw on the screen that I flashed a little bit earlier. However, I think that upon looking at the FPV footage in retrospect, I probably could increase the P and D gains even a little bit more, and probably a bit more on the roll axis. It looked a little loose on the roll axis. But other than that, not a lot of prop wash. It seemed to do all the things pretty well. Was pretty easy to control. It felt like it was in good control, even though it was only running on PPM. But I think this is characteristic of a lot of the KingKong models. They tend to fly fairly well out of the box without a whole lot of effort and not necessarily having to do a lot of mods. So if you're looking for something like that where it's easy to set up and basically get up and go and fly, charge a battery, make a couple setting changes and go and fly, definitely would check out this model and all the other KingKong models on my channel. I'll put a card in the corner with a playlist to the other KingKong videos. Now obviously, if you're looking for a rocket ship, a super fast racer, this is probably not going to be one of them. It's a good flyer, it's decently fast, it's fairly acrobatic, but it's definitely not a rocket ship. If you're looking for something like that, then I would definitely check out the SPC Maker 95 GF. That one is definitely a lot faster, but it costs about $80 more, I believe. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.